Welcome to Sex Ed with DB. I'm your host, Danielle Bezalel. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the podcast. If you love and support the work that we do, join my crew on Patreon to win amazing prizes like our adorable merch, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, private sessions with yours truly, and incredible sex toys. Go to patreon.com/sexedwithdb to join my crew. Get discounts at all of my favorite brands at sexedwithdb.com. And follow us on Instagram at sexedwithdb podcast and on TikTok at sexedwithdb. If you want to partner with us, email us at sexedwithdb@gmail.com. Hi, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. I am thrilled to be back with another More Sex Ed episode, and this episode is all about condoms, which I am very excited to tell you all about condoms. I feel like we don't really do that much talking about condoms, and so this is the first FAQ, very involved episode that we're having all about condoms, which is super exciting because they're fucking awesome and everyone should know about them. So let's go from back in time all the way to present day. We're going to talk about the history of condoms, how to use them, how effective they are at preventing pregnancy, how they work, benefits besides preventing pregnancy, drawbacks, and what else you need to know. So strap in for a couple minutes of all the deets you want to know about condoms. So history, this is where it gets interesting, actually. There are records of the condom being used as far back as 1000 BCE. That's over 3,000 years ago, which is very exciting. Instead of latex, though, condoms were actually made out of oiled silk paper, linen sheaths, leather, or very thin hollow horn, according to Very Well Health. So, wow, very wild. They were not made out of latex then. They didn't have that material back then. So they used all that other cool, fun stuff instead. And in 1912, so a little over 100 years ago, the latex condom was created and popularized, again, according to Very Well Health. So that's a little history for you. We have been indeed using condoms for a very, very long time, over 3,000 years. People have been figuring this out. How to use a condom. So what you're going to want to do is take the condom out of the wrapper, pinch the top of it, and roll the condom down the tip of the penis and down the shaft. And you want to make sure that there's enough space at the tip for sperm, for ejaculate. Once someone is done using the condom, you would roll it off the penis and throw it in the garbage. The condom, not the penis. Do not throw the penis in the garbage. A couple things to keep in mind for when you're about to use a condom. There are three main things that you want to focus on. Number one, when you put the condom in between your thumb and your other fingers and you press down a little bit, you should feel a little bit of a bubble. And that bubble is super important because it's an indication that the condom has not been punctured or otherwise opened. Another thing you want to really look at is the back to see the expiration date because yes, condoms can and do expire. Usually if you recently bought a condom, it doesn't expire for another 3 or 4 years or so, but it's always good to double check. And the third thing that I want you to pay attention to is make sure you store your condom in a room temperature place where there won't be items around it that can potentially puncture it. So we talk about not putting condoms in wallets because it's definitely possible that that little bubble I was talking to you about could burst in a wallet, or there's a lot of pressure if it's in your pocket. And so you should probably put a condom in, an empty pencil case or a little pouch, or have a little aluminum tin for them and bring that around. So just a couple things to keep in mind. How effective are condoms at preventing pregnancy? So with perfect use, condoms are about 98% effective at preventing pregnancy. But as we say in the sex ed world, we're not perfect. And so we talk about typical or normal use. And with that, they're about 85% effective, according to the NHS. And again, as you follow those rules that I was sharing earlier, if you know that it's not expired, it's been in a proper place, You know that, the penis wasn't interacting with the vagina before the condom was put on. That number of effectiveness increases as those rules or those kind of things you want to keep in mind are followed. And so how does a condom work? Pretty simple. Condoms prevent pregnancy by catching the sperm and preventing the sperm from going inside of the vagina. But again, if you're messing around, if there's been some foreplay, maybe there's some oral or some hand stuff, or maybe that pre-cum might be coming out of the penis, you want to make sure that that's not near the vagina, because it is possible for pre-cum. It's unlikely, but it is possible for pre-cum to essentially to swim up the vagina if it's close enough. And so that's why we want to make sure we get that condom on before any play with the penis, especially if we're about to have intercourse. So what are some benefits besides preventing pregnancy? Condoms do double duty. They prevent pregnancy and STIs at the same time. And this is the only form of contraception that does both. Pretty exciting. So it's a 2-for-1 deal. They're also easy to use and pretty inexpensive. You can probably get free or cheap condoms at your local Planned Parenthood. You can buy a box on Amazon or at CVS for, something like $1 a condom. So there are plenty of ways to get inexpensive, or, a bulk of sorts of condoms. I'm sure Costco has that. I'm sure you can check that out. There are also 0 hormones, and they won't impact anyone's reproductive system, periods, moods, for better or worse. Some people like being on the pill in order to help their acne or control their periods, but with condoms, there's no hormones. So if you're someone who interacts with hormones negatively, then the condom might be a good option. What are some drawbacks of the condom? So as we probably know, condoms can break, especially in movies sometimes as a joke, but they don't really say that it's a joke, which is really important to mention. Never wear 2 condoms. That's not effective. That will cause more friction and more likelihood of the condoms to break, which would defeat the purpose of using them. So only use 1 condom, but condom can break and it can slip off. Or you can forget, or your partner could forget if you're wearing one, if you've been under the influence, if you're drinking, if you're doing drugs. And some people feel like condoms interrupt the heat of the moment during sex, which can be bothersome. So, another thing, some people could have latex allergies. So you could use non-latex condoms, but it's just something to keep in mind. All those drawbacks are not deal breakers, in my opinion. I think if you get used to using condoms, and you're careful about the lube that you add to them to make sure that they don't break, to take them off as soon as ejaculation or cum gets in them. And so if you follow those kind of simple ideas, then the condom is more likely to do its job and prevent pregnancy and STIs. What else you need to know? So condoms should not be used with oil-based lube, because the condom can break with oil-based lube. So you want to be using either silicone-based lube or water-based lube with condoms if you're going to be using lube. And as always, I recommend Uberlube if you're going to be using silicone-based lube. So I think that's pretty much it about condoms. As I said, they're great, wonderful form of birth control and STI prevention. And if you want to learn more about condoms, definitely Google condoms Planned Parenthood. You can get some more facts on that. And that goes for anything. If you ever have a question and you're not really sure how to get the right answer, ask the question and then write Planned Parenthood next to it in Google. And hopefully Planned Parenthood will have an article or a part of their website where you can learn more. All right, condom folks, hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you have a phenomenal weekend ahead of you. And you guys rock. Talk to you soon. Our creator, host, and executive producer is me, Danielle Bezalel, aka DB. Our co-producer and communications lead is Cathren Cohen. Our social media intern is Sarah Kelly. Our music theme is by Hook Sounds. Thank you so much to our featured guests, partners, and our listeners. Want to advertise with us? Email us at sexedwithdb@gmail.com. For more sex ed content, follow us on IG at sexedwithdbpodcast and on TikTok at sexedwithdb. See you next time.